What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about HBAR today. Hedera. Hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it, my friends. Here we are on the 31st of May, sitting here at about 17 cents, 7 hours and 12 minutes left in the day here, moving up a little bit. I think you're finding support at this oversold zone, right? That's what it looks like. It would be nice. I think it would be nice if today could close green. If you close green today, you've got this look of rejecting the oversold zone, and that can oftentimes promote some growth afterwards, right? Sometimes we do, I feel like with the overbought zone, because people are so antsy to see it go up, you're more likely to reject the overbought zone, where with the oversold zone, even if you reject it, you're more likely to get back into it. Does that make sense? Just depending on the environment, right? And I think right now, given the current environment, just because we close today green, if we reject the oversold zone here, that doesn't necessarily mean we're in the clear, but it would be a step in the right direction. It's very possible we could close today green, move up a little bit, and then still come back down to the oversold zone. We'll get to that, but a step in the right direction would be to close here or higher so that you can essentially reject the oversold zone. Being here at 16.9 cents, good enough. From a low to a high, you reached for your golden ratio, but you missed it. That's actually a good look. A lot of people think that the best interaction with the golden ratio is to pull down, you bounce right off of it, boom, perfect. And that is the best interaction, because then you get to buy, you get all your stuff, right? But the best interactions are whenever this kind of stuff happens, where you skim it, you can't quite reach it because either one, there's not enough selling pressure, or two, there's too much buying pressure. That's the same thing essentially. And that's oftentimes a good signal. That's actually a very, very bullish signal, and can result in some bullish begettings after that, right? If we're looking at this here on the RSI, not really anything else bullish other than the prospect of rejecting the oversold zone. So we'll just leave it at that. Let's look at some short-term stuff, and then we'll come back to this, okay? Looking at the 1 hour time frame here. 1 hour RSI is reaching for the sky. You're in an area where you found resistance before, So if you go up a little bit higher and then come back down, don't be too sad, right? If you come back down, that doesn't mean that you're going to lower lows, but I mean, it could, but we'll see. I do like the 1 hour RSI, but at the moment, I'm more inclined to believe this is some kind of bull trap rather than a mark of the low and continue. I mean, right? Like, that's not a low, right? That's not a low. That looks more like a low, or like this, or like that, right? That right there. It's like akin to this, right? And it's something like that. I don't know. It's not, and I mean, none of these were lows either, to be completely fair. Just like relative lows. I don't know. It kind of looks like that, and that was a relative low there, but. It could be. I'm not saying that it can't be. It just, to me, it doesn't look. I guess you kind of have a double bottom there. You had the bullish divergence, but I would still think that we go lower, potentially even lower than that, right? Maybe we do interact with that golden ratio after all. All I can say is that from here, I'm not impressed. I would actually expect that you find some resistance here, whether it's here at 16.9 cents or it's a little bit higher. Maybe it's at 18.9, or maybe not 18.9 cents. It'd be at like 17.8 cents at the highest. Tell you what, if we get above 18.3 cents, 18.2 cents, then it's time to start celebrating this as a low. But until then, maybe not. 1 hour RSI doesn't do it for me. It looks bullish enough, but I'm a little bit cautious with this. Okay, kind of looks like a bull trap. 4 hour time frame. The 4 hour RSI does look bearish as well. Oversold here at the 40. This is an area that you'd expect to find resistance, actually. Tell you what, if you can keep pushing higher, man, getting oversold and then ripping above the 40, that's at least a good starting point, right? Doesn't mean that you have to grow from there, but oftentimes when you reject the 40 or you stop below the 40 and you come back down, that actually it implies you have lower to go. So if you can at least get above the 40, you might have hopes of this being your low still, right? I'm going to look at this real quick on our overall low to high here, from this pivot low to high. 1886200. Man, a lot of things are finding support or resistance at their 1886200 area. Yeah, I would say 18.2 cents, but based off these fibs, really 18.8 cents is what you need to get above in order to validate this as a low, right? You want to get above that 886. If you're finding resistance or support at the 1886, you need to not find resistance at the 886, if that makes any sense. You want to keep going higher. That'd be nice, man. Moving all the way up like this, and you kind of consolidate a little bit. You'd have a complex, or what do they call this? I think it's a complex inverse head and shoulders, right? Where it's like a V bottom. It's not so. It's a little bit more rigid. It's not so smooth. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. I'm just painting the future that doesn't exist yet. 4 hour time frame, not bullish enough for me to be convicted either. So I do think that you're going to move down a little bit. That's my expectation. If you're going to move down, when I say a little bit, I really do mean a little bit. So now that we're back at the daily time frame, from a low here to a high there, a little bit, where you're going to go, golden ratio, 15.7 cents to 15 cents itself. That's probably where you'll find support. There's actually a lot of reasons to find support here. I'm just going to put a line right in the middle of that zone. Then we'll zoom out on a weekly basis, right? You've got prior resistance in this area, prior support in this area, right? It's somewhat of a significant zone. I believe if we take the overall all-time high to the bear market low that we just had, the lows in December 2022, I guess that is a little bit above the 0.5, but still something, 14.2 cents, 15.7 cents, they're close enough, right? There's reasons to find support in that zone is all I'm trying to say. What if I take away this fib? Hold on, I put this one on here. Let's just see. High to low. Right, and then there's that 886 right? Holding that as support, it makes a lot of sense. It's actually very common to go from this area down to this area. Finding support at the 886 would actually just be confirmation that you are in the right, that you're moving in the right direction. Finding support at prior resistance, same thing. So I don't mind it, man. Drop to 15 cents, drop to 15.5 cents. I think you'll be fine. You're at 16.9 cents now. Prove me wrong. Get above like 18.8 cents to prove me wrong. 18.3 cents, something like that. Hell, just get above 19 cents. If you do that, then you don't have to go lower. But until then, I'm bearish. Ultimately, I do expect that HBAR will see new all-time highs. I'm expecting that we do see prices erupt to something that's around like maybe even just below $2 is kind of the expectation, if I remember correctly. Yeah, I'm thinking around $1.80, right? With the 1414, oftentimes you do not find resistance right at it. What you'll do is you'll come up, you'll find a resistance just above it, and then you'll come down. So just above it, there's $2, nice psychological resistance point. That might be where you find resistance, right? It makes a lot of sense. This is a bull flag from a low to a high here. That measure move in itself would take you all the way up to $1.16, $1.20. That's your minimum target. So it does make sense that we could stop anywhere from like $1.20 to $2, something in that range. Let's look at the Bitcoin chart and then we'll wrap this up. Okay, HBAR to BTC. If we're doing this on Binance, sure, Binance. Oh man, there we go. You also have a bull flag here. And if we take this low to a high on the Bitcoin bull flag here, HBAR to Bitcoin bull flag, that would give you a measure move that takes you all the way up here. Now let's look at our data and see what we got going on here. Prior resistance right there. Prior resistance, this measure move might be overzealous. Maybe we actually don't stop. I mean, we could stop there. We have reasons to stop there. It would make all the sense in the world to stop there. Let's just see high to low real quick. Right in our 1886200 area. I have no problem with that. It's just there are some points of resistance beforehand. I like to be bullish, but I also like to be cautiously bullish, right? What if you stop at these areas? So let's be conservative. Let's say you do stop at these areas. You don't get to 401, but you get to 50816. Let's just say that, okay? HBAR versus Bitcoin, you're at 50816. Let's put that in there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 50816. Okay. Multiply that by the Bitcoin price. Bitcoin's at 104.6K now. By the time HBAR to BTC moves up, HBAR is going to be moving up. Bitcoin's going to be moving up, right? So Bitcoin will not, what we do know is that Bitcoin will not be at this price. When HBAR to BTC is up here, when HBAR is at its high, wherever it is, Bitcoin will not be at this price. So we know if we multiply 104.6K, if we multiply that into the equation, we know that this will not be where you stop. You're only going to go higher than this number. 85 cents. Okay, so we're getting above $1 at least, right? We're probably going to get above $1 at least. That's still pretty low, but obviously I think that you're going to go higher than that, right? I would expect that Bitcoin, and I'm not going to do the full analysis for Bitcoin, we're just doing HBAR. I've done it enough times to know. I believe that we're going to stop between 160 to 190K. I'm thinking 170 to 180 specifically. That's kind of the area that I'm thinking. So let's say Bitcoin stops at 170 to 180K. But HBAR tops off before or after. So Bitcoin's not quite at 170 to 180. Maybe it's at 160. Right? 160K. That gives us a price of $1.30. And $1.30 makes sense, right? That's right there around our 1272. So we can make sense out of that, right? Let's say HBAR is not, or that Bitcoin's not at 160K. Maybe it does. HBAR and Bitcoin top off at the same time. Bitcoin's at 180K. That gives us a price of $1.47. Still nowhere near $2, right? Taking away the possibility of getting up to that $1.80 or higher zone, maybe we're looking at it wrong. Maybe the measure move here is something to be taken serious. Maybe we don't find resistance here in the Bitcoin chart, and maybe it is 401025 that we find resistance. Let's try that. 401025. See if that comes up with anything else. We'll times that by 160 and then 180 and just see. $1.64, so a little bit higher, not bad, but nothing around $2 yet. 180, I guess we're not going to get $2, are we? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, probably not. So not financial advice, not a financial advisor. I wouldn't be surprised if HBAR BTC did complete its bull flag measurement up to here. I wouldn't be surprised if you completed your bull flag measurement here as well. But at this point in time, I suppose it would be on our most maximum. And this isn't like optimistic stuff, right? This is still pretty realistic price action. The only thing that's not realistic is expecting HBAR to top off at the same time as BTC. They likely do top off at different times. So I would say, I think it is a very possible outcome that HBAR does not get above $2. Maybe you could still reach $1.80. I do believe that you'll be above $1.21, but something between $1.80 and $1.21 is where you're going to go, right? From the current price, and that matches up with this bull flag. It matches up with the Bitcoin bull flag too. So not the BTC USD, but the HBAR BTC bull flag. From the current price, that's overall a 7x. Okay, so sorry, you're not going to get the 10x move that we were looking for here. You're not going to get an 11x move, but you're still going to get a 7x with HBAR at a minimum. At a minimum, there's still a good chance that you do see $1.80 or higher, but as far as $2 or more goes, I don't think that we can make sense out of that, right? The only way that we can make sense out of that is if Bitcoin and HBAR top off around the same time, which I could see happening. And then maybe if HBAR US or HBAR BTC, maybe you go up a little bit higher. Instead of finding resistance at your measure move, maybe you find resistance directly here with this resistance point. I don't know. Let's take a fib here real quick and just see if anything lines up high to low. I mean, I like that first one. I like the measure move of the bull flag because that's right between the 188.6200. So the more that I'm looking at this, the more that I am convinced we're probably not going to get to $2. $1.80 is your maximum target. Maybe you do find, you don't oftentimes find resistance right at the 141.4. Oftentimes you go a little bit above it like this, but maybe you do just come right up to it and find resistance there. That does happen sometimes. This could be one of those scenarios. So that's all I got for you guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. We're at 16.9 cents now. I think we go a little bit lower, around 15 to 16 cents, and then it's rally time, probably over the coming weeks. All right, take care. See you on the next one. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Adios. Bye-bye.